Woman who's unwinding road, with stories deep and hearts that glow. She's been the boss, she's been the flame. She's more than titles, more than names. So pull up a chair, come join the show. Let's talk the highs, the hurt, the glow. She's got the mic and we've got the night. Let's live out loud, let's get it right.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of Beth's episode here at the Tox Drop. I'm your host, Maggie McIntyre, and let's drop in. All right. So when we last left off, Beth, we were talking about your experience with patient 0 as a COVID nurse 6 years ago, working at Rejuvelate starting 8 years ago as one of our injections nurses. We talked about being raised essentially by 2 families in Europe, first in France and then in Germany. And during that time, you grew up, met your future husband, and at, 18 or 19, came with him to the U.S. So take us there. That's it. That's a huge shift. Was it scary coming over here?
It was scary. But we met when I was 15 and he was 17. We dated for a few years. We had a surprise child together. And
How old were you when you had your child?
I was turning 18 that year.
I did not know you were that young. I think I thought you were at least in your 20s. Okay.
No. And we were good. My ex, but we were great. He wanted me to move to the United States with him. He wanted us to get married. And, I think from both sides, his family and my family, they had concerns. We're too young. But we loved each other so much. Mm-hmm. Looking back, what do you know about love at the age of 18 or 19? But at that point, whatever the love was, it was a pure love. Mm-hmm. And, we moved to New York City because that's where he's from.
Did you have your son before you guys moved to the U.S.?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you had your son there. And then you guys moved to New York City. Uh-huh. And when did he join? How soon after did you all marry and then he joined the military?
I moved to New York City and then I think 6 months later we got married.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right.
And then, he didn't want to join the military at first, but I think by the time he was maybe 5 years later, 4 or 5 years later, he joined the military. I think it was just, it was hard working at different jobs and, he had quit college and we were just working at jobs versus careers.
Were you an RN at that point or was it after
It was after.
Okay, then he went back to school. Okay.
It was after.
All right. That is hard, especially with a little one to be bouncing around and doing that kind of thing. When you all got married, was it a traditional wedding or was it more justice of the peace?
It was a justice of the peace
wedding.
My family could not make it, so it was just his family that was there. Mm-hmm. We did just a quick JP visit, and then we went to eat at, I'll never forget this, Junior's in Brooklyn. And that's where we had our little celebration dinner. And it was small, it was cute, it was good.
And, the thing is that had things turned out a little bit differently, it doesn't take away from the fact that moment and that part of the story was a really positive one.
Yeah.
Maybe it was naive. Maybe it was too soon. Maybe it was unplanned. But if you knew how it would end, it would still be a cute part of your story, Yeah. And if it had ended differently with you guys, then it would be one of those, it was meant to be,
Right,
So it is. I think you can look back and appreciate those moments, even if they don't work out as you hope they would, So how long were you all married before you all divorced?
Oh gosh. We got married in 95 and we started our separation process in 2018, but we had already been living separately in the house. I lived on the main level and he kind of just stayed in the basement. But we were at that time, I think we were probably at our best since we could tell that we were not going to be together anymore, or that there was, I think not to disparage him, but we made a lot of mistakes when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't know who we were ourselves. And, as I got older and he got older, I think we just didn't share the same fundamental views and values of family.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we just truly just grew apart. We were
Right.
two different people that we were not at the age of 18.
When you all divorced, was there, from what you remember, from what you experienced, do you feel that there was a mental health crisis going on with him at that time, or is
No.
that something that came along later?
That must have come along later. I think, when we divorced or went through the separation process, I think he was difficult to deal with during the divorce process.
Mm-hmm.
I think the times that I would see him, I think I was always very kind
Mm-hmm.
when we chatted, because I just didn't want any problems
Right.
between us.
If that's the case, then would you say, and of course we understand that it's not to sort of disparage, but to just share your perspective. Would you say that he, if not say mental health crisis, do you feel that his behavior was maybe more volatile or unpredictable? Was that the case, or did he have a propensity to get angry quickly?
I think he has, he can get volatile
Mm-hmm.
and angry. I think his ego was so big
Mm-hmm.
that no matter what kind of interaction I had with him, I had to placate to his ego
Right.
at the time. And I think honestly, that's what helped me get through the divorce process. Is I just killed with kindness.
Yeah.
Just to get through.
Just to survive it.
Mhm.
Right. So after you all divorce, he moves, you move, boys are grown. At this point, you guys have 2 sons.
Correct.
And they're full grown. And recently, what was it, about over a year ago,
Yeah.
you got a pretty shocking phone call. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I have not kept in touch with my ex at all since the divorce. And I received a phone call in 2024 that, and then I found out that he had committed suicide.
Mm.
So, and I had to communicate that to his family, and then I had to communicate that to his kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
Your kids.
My kids.
Your kids. Yeah. It's a fairly complex kind of grief for so many reasons. The manner in which he passed, the surprise, the fact that he'd been a large part of you as a younger woman and the father of your children. But of course, since then, you guys hadn't really kept in touch or talked in a while. And then, of course, it's the compassion and empathy you feel for your children. How did you navigate that? What was it like for you? Was it confusing?
I think the telling his mother was hard.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a relationship with her. I care for her. They care for me. I mean, she was basically like a mother to me for 26 years.
Yeah. My kid's grandmother, paternal grandmother.
Yeah.
I really care for her too. Yeah. Nice woman.
And I wanted to make sure that I was the person that told my kids. I did not want them to hear it from somebody else. And it was hard. I didn't think that they expected that phone call to come from me. But to be honest, I didn't expect to get that phone call at 6 a.m. So it was, the shocking thing to me was more or less, I did not see that in him.
Mm-hmm.
I would never have guessed that
would have happened.
That would have happened. But, I did hear from mutual friends and we ran into each other when I went for a funeral back in California, and he did not look well.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, he did not look well.
Okay.
I just disproportionate to the funeral that we're at.
Right.
That's all I'll say about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So but I have heard that he was struggling with his health. He was struggling with his relationship. He had at that point been remarried like almost 5 years. Had, his new family living in a different state.
Right.
Yeah, his health, his work, and his relationship, I think, were suffering.
Right. I can't imagine getting the call like you did, and then sort of navigating that with your kids. And it's I think the shock of a sudden passing, but also one like that, because there's just so much. It goes against nature in such a way, that I think it can be really disturbing.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for sharing that with us, because that's really difficult, to say the least. And I'm sure there are other people listening that have been in similar positions with loved ones, or with, at the end of the day, when you divorce someone and they're linked to you, especially through children, there's always some kind of link, I think, spiritually or whatnot, and where you can't quite leave them entirely.
Yeah.
And you had a life with them.
Yeah.
You built something with them at one point. That there was at one point two young adults, I should say, that met at a DoD school in Germany and fell in love.
Yeah.
And that's not who he was anymore, but at one time he had been. And I think just that there's a sadness in that. But I think that you've done a pretty miraculous job of navigating that and being there for your children. Yeah. So that's great. Okay, let's be real. We all want that fresh, glowy skin that looks like we've been sleeping 8 hours a night and drinking green juice. Even when, if you're like me, you've been swapping that green juice for Coke Zero and you're getting more like 5 hours of sleep instead of 8. Well, that's where our medical spa, Rejuvelay's Med Spa, comes in. We do everything from relaxing facials to laser treatments, body contouring, injectables, and biostimulation. The team at our medical spa really listens to you and customizes treatments based on your goals, your lifestyle, and your budget. If you've been thinking about giving your skin a little love or a big transformation, be sure to check us out at rejuvelaysmedspa.com, or feel free to stop by. You deserve to feel confident and radiant, and Rejuvelay's Med Spa makes it easy. Trust me, your future glowing self will thank you. With that, we're coming into this era. You've gone through divorce, countries, living in different countries over the years, raised your children. You went from an RN, registered nurse, to becoming a nurse practitioner, into this last year, obtaining your doctorate. So you are Dr. Beth now.
Yeah.
And what's next for you? You're turning 50 this year.
Yeah.
What does that look like, and what do you hope for yourself? Are you currently dating anybody, Beth? I think that's what everybody wants to know. Especially if you guys are watching the video, you'll see just how beautiful she is. Absolutely stunning. And yeah, so what are you thinking?
I feel like I sometimes feel like I can't sit still, and I'm always looking for something else to do. When I went back for my nurse practitioner, I just needed a lifestyle job change. And then, to get my doctorate, it's a terminal degree. That's the highest that we can go. And I did it with a friend. There was support there. We made it. But, after that, I feel like the last 6 years I've been constantly in school.
Right.
And this is the first year that I'm not in school. And I think it has allowed me to be a little bit more purposeful in like what my needs are, my personal needs are. with dating.
Mhm.
And I think it's also given me a little bit more time to be at the spa as well.
Right.
So, dating, I didn't have the opportunity to date when we were young
Mhm.
because it was my high school boyfriend to husband to then divorce in my mid 40s. And
Right. And then COVID and back
and
to
then
school.
COVID
Yeah.
and back to school. So, I feel like God puts people in your path at the time that you need them.
Mhm.
So I've met, different men along the way who have been supportive, great individuals. And I had to learn that just because they're a great person doesn't mean that they're your person. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, I just don't know if I could love again. And I was fine with that.
Mhm.
I was like, love makes you foolish. You believe things. You gaslight yourself. You allow yourself to be breadcrumbed, like all these
Mhm.
things. And I thought, I'm in my 40s. I don't have time for that.
Right.
I'm
It's exhausting,
it's
isn't it?
exhausting.
Yeah.
And I could be with somebody who is comfortable, a good person. But, ultimately, I, just decided that I just didn't want to repeat a relationship of years of not having that love.
Mhm.
And, it was when my adopted or foster mother, when she passed away, in 2022, I remember the love that I saw from my dad and my
Mhm.
mom, and something clicked. And I said, that's what I want.
Right.
I want that type of love. So
Mhm.
I think at that point I was open to it, and I just knew that the relationship that I was in was not that.
Right.
So my dating life, I've had, I don't think because the 2 or 3 people that I've dated since my divorce that it hasn't worked out, that it wasn't a good experience.
Mhm.
I think it has taught me a lot about myself as an adult woman dating, of things that I'm looking for and things that I'm not looking for.
I really like what you said about meeting a good person. But just because they're a good person, it doesn't mean that they are your person.
Right.
And that is where I think so many of us, again, we've grown up listening to fairy tales, watching fairy tales, seeing things in movies. It doesn't have to be you're either dating a jerk or you're dating your dream guy,
Right.
or dating a jerk or dating your dream girl. It doesn't have to be one or the other. What you said is true. And I can speak to that myself.
Mhm.
Before Steve and I got together years ago, I dated a couple of really nice guys.
Yeah.
And it just, what they wanted, their direction, or quite honestly, what they had families of their own, because they too had been divorced. And quite honestly, there was stuff within their families that just, I just was like, if I'm being honest, I can't bring this to my kids. I can't
Right.
bring this into my world. This is
Right,
just,
right.
this too heavy. There's too much stuff going on here. But the guys themselves are really, really nice. Some of them too, maybe their direction or work ethic or something was a little different, but still good guys.
Right.
And so I think it's important to be able to say, just because they're a good guy doesn't mean that's right for you. There's a lot of components there. Yes, good guy is, to me, should be the foundation and the
Right.
basics. But there is, more to it. And I think that's holding up to, you don't want unrealistic standards,
Right.
but you do want good and high standards because you hold them for yourself.
Right. Right.
So I know that you had dated someone for a little while, and that was just kind of a point too, where lots of really good things within that relationship. But just some things that, are just different, and just, if you're being honest with yourself long term, you don't know if that can work for you or not.
I sometimes think, am I being selfish? And I feel like I've lived my late teens, all of my 20s, the majority of my 30s being something for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Be it for my husband at the time, my children, and
your patients,
and I, now that my kids are older, they're standing on their own 2 feet, And I am maybe, and this might be, taboo to say, but I'm in my selfish era now. I need it to fit my life. Obviously there's compromise and learning and growing with your partner, but there are some things that I'm just not willing to compromise for my own peace.
Well, and I think that's, for you to say selfish, there could be maybe an element of selfish, but I would say more like self-fulfilling, because selfish to me would be like, there's no way I could stay long-term in this relationship because he has like really small kids or something like that. And I'm past that point in my life, but I really enjoy going out on dates and he always buys my dinner. So I'm going to stay with him. That's selfish to me. You're really being objective and saying, it's heading down this path. And while I really like him, I can't be a mom again to this little one, or I don't want to move to Ohio because that's where he's moving and I'm very happy with my life here. Whatever it is, those things that you just can't change.
Yes.
You're not trying to force it to fit. And you're also being honest with them though. And that's the important thing. That's the difference. So I don't think it's selfish. I think you are making decisions that will ultimately be best for you, but also for that person. You're letting them go so they can find somebody that is able to meet their needs in that regard. You know?
I think, when two people get together, especially this late in life, I think it's something that I'm looking for is I want to complement their life and I want them to complement my life. And then how do we integrate that together? And obviously that will take work, but that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I think you need to be really kind of in the same place. And yes, I mean, so much of it is choice. Whoever you're with most likely either has children that are grown or decided not to have children for one reason or the other. Your children are grown. You're an independent person. You've done well for yourself. You're well educated. Nobody needs a relationship. You certainly don't. So but we crave it and we desire that, and that's normal. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. But there is definitely an elective and a choice here. And it's like, so choose wisely. You've been there before. You don't want to go through that kind of thing again.
Right.
So here you are on the frontier of dating. I get to hear your stories. I love it. And want the best, of course, for you. And I do think you've raised that bar for yourself, which doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect or that you find the one right away, if you will. But I like that you seem to be with guys that are worthy of your time, even if things are not the perfect fit.
Yes.
They're still worthy of your time and still good men.
Yes.
So I'm happy to see that, because you should be with that, for sure.
Thank you.
Before we wrap things up here, I have so many questions for you, but before we're going to have to wrap it up, I want to talk a little bit about aesthetics. I've noticed my last few interviews, we actually have not talked a whole lot about, and that's the Tox Drop. We're supposed to be talking about aesthetics a little bit and well-being. And I guess we do that in a sense, but, talk to me about being an aesthetics nurse. So what was it? I mean, your ICU, what was it that had you interested in coming to work for Rejuvelate? Besides it was Anna, not social Anna who works with us now, but our other Anna, and she worked with us and she was wonderful, and then she moved. But I think you guys were friends, and she talked to you about position.
We're still friends.
Or so talk to I know she's so great. So talk to me about what got you into that. I think it was her, but what was your interest in getting into it?
The funny thing is, my sisters from my foster family, they have always been into beauty treatments, facials, and as we got older, injections, Botox, but and we have always talked about one of us working in that field or investing in that field. So
are they still in France?
One sister lives in California and the other one lives in Japan.
Well, they need to come over here for a visit.
So, anyway, so I've always been interested in it. I was nervous to get Botox the very 1st time. That was in 2018. And then I was hooked
Right.
once I got it. And like you said, Anna was working for you at the time. She and I worked together at the hospital when she was still there. And then I think you were looking for an aesthetics nurse. And then she kind of got me in. She trained me. And I think I've just been there ever since.
Yeah.
What I've always liked is that you have always prioritized education and training, and you pour back into your business, and I do like that, and that you want to do things the right way.
Yes.
Like if you find out the law is changing about XYZ, you always try to stay on top of it and make sure that we're always on the right side.
Always in compliance. Doing everything we're
yes.
supposed to be doing.
So I totally respect that. And I think that is, one of, other than I love you, but
Thank you.
One of the things that I've always felt safe practicing for you is that we are always trying to be on the right side,
right.
Always compliant, and then always increasing our education, our knowledge, our skills.
Right. And when we say try,
Mm-hmm.
it's because when we say try, what Beth is saying is that in this industry, for those of you that are in it, you understand there different states and different jurisdictions, different boards have different requirements, and a lot of them are very vague and whatnot. So we are on the side of being proactive. Correct. And it's just trying to dot I's, cross T's, even if we haven't been told to, because so
and it's changing
always.
1 year you're allowed to do this, the next year you can't do this, then the following year they let you do it again. It's always a moving target.
Yes. Well, and they changed that too with what NPs can do at one point.
Correct.
And we talked about that. So always. What's your favorite part about the aesthetics side of things? And how much, tell me the similarities and the differences between nurse injecting as an aesthetics nurse and ICU work.
So ICU type work is we really see our patients at their worst. And, I do see a lot of death at the hospital. But there's also a lot of fulfillment or satisfaction. I don't know if that's even the right term, but of helping someone at the hospital to get better. And so I like that.
Right.
I like being a part of a team that gets people better. And
it's a big impact.
It's a big impact, and sometimes getting better means, or the transition also means, we don't talk about it enough, is that sometimes helping them to get to pass peacefully is also a skill.
Right.
And it's part of life. What I like about aesthetics is everything is lighthearted. People come in, they have concerns about, their skin, their whatever it is. And they come in, they share it with you, and you come up with a plan that's just for them. And I love watching them come on day one. And let's say it's a year and a half down the road, the transformation that we're able to achieve. Because, I tell our clients all the time, it's not a one-stop shop.
Right.
Like it's a
plan.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a plan. It's a journey. And if we stick to that plan, we can get you to what your goal is.
Yep.
So I find that fun. And when I get messages back, and they tell me, oh my God, thank you so much. I love the way I look. That is in itself also a reward.
Right. And the thing is that there's so much of an emotional and mental component to it,
right.
That's really nice to see, because it's not just the aesthetic, but it's the big smile that they're able to have, and there's a different look in them when they're feeling good about themselves, So, and it's very different. So we generally work with healthy patients, and knock on wood, you're not dealing with a life and death issue, but there is still reward and still a need for it. And I think there's something fun with that. I'm going to do a couple of sort of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Somewhat rapid fire. Okay. Tell me of all of the services we do at Rejuvelate, what would be your two, like, this is it, I have to always be able to do or have these two things?
Botox.
Yep.
Any of the neurotoxins.
Yes.
Cannot live without it.
Mhm.
I get it every 3 to 4 months. I can tell when I
Yes.
need it again. I think it's an investment in everything. And skin pen.
Mm-hmm. You are a skin pen girl.
I am a skin pen girl.
Yeah, I do like the skin pen too. Don't get me wrong, but I think neurotoxin, no question.
Yes.
And I like all of them. Definitely neurotoxin. I'm trying to think what else.
If you had to pick two, Maggie?
Yeah. I do like skin pen, but I think definitely neurotoxin, and I'm thinking filler or biostem.
Mm-hmm.
Just because with like weight loss and aging, my face has changed, and so with
Yeah.
volume loss, that makes a difference. So I think I'd have to go with those two. It's hard though. I like all of them. I like everything.
True. That's true.
So, favorite date night. What would be an ideal date night for you?
Oh, an ideal date night.
Mm-hmm.
I like. I'm a sunrise kind of girl.
Mm-hmm.
Over sunset. I think it just sets the mood for your whole day when the sun comes up and it's bright and it's shining. If I could pick an ideal date, it's we get up in the morning, we go on a hike, we watch the sunrise, and then a brunch afterwards.
That would be really nice.
That's I'm a cheap date.
Yeah, that's a good date though. It's a quality date. That's a quality date for sure. And then what is your favorite candy? Do you have a favorite candy?
So
or
I'm
sweet
a
treats?
Haribo gummies kind of girl.
Oh, okay. I like it
eat
too.
Them. I actually have a mix of the different kinds and a baggie in my purse as we speak. I just carry
Oh my
it
gosh,
around.
that's so funny.
And I will eat it. There is no such thing as, the recommended portion size is 5 pieces. No, the recommended portion size to me is the whole bag.
Yeah.
So once I start, it's just.
They are so good.
That's my favorite.
They're very addictive.
Yeah.
Okay. And last question. Let me see. This next year, do you have any goal or intention that you've set for yourself?
So I turned 50 in October.
So exciting.
My big thing to do this year is I haven't been able to celebrate a birthday with my family since I've lived here, since 1995.
Oh my gosh.
So I want to spend my 50th with my family, my brother, my stepdad, my mom, and my children. They will come out to Europe. And so I'll be in Munich and then doing some traveling to see the other parts of my family too in Paris. And
oh, so nice.
But that's the big goal.
Okay.
Is to spend it.
To do that. That's going to be amazing. What a great trip.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Well, thinking about everything that you've been through, where you are now, what you're looking at in the future, if somebody is listening, going through a hard time, questioning their future. Maybe they're going through a rough time in their marriage. Maybe they don't know what they want to do with their career. Maybe they're not feeling good about themselves. Maybe they've experienced a great loss or tragedy. What would you tell them? What is some of the advice that you would recommend for somebody going through something like this? Is there anything that you would recommend? I
think, throughout the years of having different hardships, I say the hardship is a blip in your life. And it's not forever. And if you constantly sit in that moment of hardship, and, I think there's a reasonable amount of time to mourn whatever it is that you're going through. But at some point in time, you have to say to yourself, like, I'm giving myself 3 days, 5 days, whatever that looks like for you. And once that time is up, you need to move on because there's so much more life ahead.
Right.
And
I think we overuse the word trauma sometimes.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, lots of hardships, but we overuse the word trauma to the point where it's like, I think it magnifies the things that are happening to us. And sadly, I mean, that's just part of life.
Yes.
And loss is part of it. Hardship's part of it. Yeah.
And I just, I give myself a day or two when I'm unhappy about something after that, whatever time I set for myself, then I just move on. And I think I think I developed that from being torn between two families. Otherwise, I don't know where I would be if I just wallowed in the moment of, we joke about it, the kidnapping, and the separation from my families. I look back and I love my biological mother. And I commend her for doing what she did. She gave me to a great family. It wasn't a bad family. They love me to this day. I am still their daughter. I'm still their sister. They incorporate me in all of the things that they do as if we were blood. And I have two fabulous families out of this, so I try to always look for the positive in things. And I tell my kids when they're having a hard time too, like, this is a blip. You're still young. Believe it or not, there will be multiple blips throughout your lifetime.
You're gonna be,
You just have to work through and get past. And, in the moment of that acute phase of the blip, you might think, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I will never get past it. And you look back 3, 4, 5, 6 months later and you're like, oh,
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
So
I would agree.
Yeah.
Well, Beth, I loved just being able to see you, to catch up with you, to chat, and just to get to hear a little bit more of your story in more detail. And I'm sure the listeners in the audience and viewers have been too. So I just want you to know how grateful I am to have you as a part of our staff, to know you personally, and to have you as a guest on the show.
Oh, thank you.
I think you've been a great person to help us wrap up season 2 of the Tox Drop. And guys, be sure to tune in for season 3 beginning in June. Of course, we'll be advertising and posting those specific dates. We always appreciate your support, your feedback, downloading us on Apple Music and Spotify. And to all of our guests from season 2 and season 1, thank you so much for making this possible. And thank you, Beth.
Oh, thank you, Maggie. Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, guys. Thanks for dropping in.
So pull up a chair, come join the show. Let's talk the highs, the hurt, the glow. She's got the mic and we got the night. Let's live out loud, let's get it right. She's got the mic, yeah, we're doing it right.